Yeah, it's going.
Yeah, well, I'm doing these one-on-ones with Cody on the YouTube Live and having people log in, ask questions. It's I'm learning at the same time. Like Cody's maybe 26, I think,
Mhm.
but he might as well be 50, you know, with the amount of volume of experience that he's got. So even last week, I was like, "Huh, that's a good idea," and I'm like, "Of course, I've got to figure out how to do this," you know. So and I have this thing of like, so I went to school at Berkeley, and one of their mottos is like students always. So basically, continuously learning.
Oh yeah.
And by talking with Cody, and this is why we do these things. You always want that person that's there or higher than you. Like
Yeah.
Cody's half my age, literally almost, and I'm learning from him. That's why I do. Yeah, obviously I want content, but I'm more focused on learning from him. So like he just gave me a lender for Eastern Washington that I'm gonna look at refinancing my property. I'm like, this is like an absolute no brainer, right? Like if I can, because he's doing this now. He actually is getting a lower payment, lower interest, and cash back. I'm like, it doesn't get better than that, right?
Right. That's like the end of the deal. That's what you put the whole thing together for, so you can get to that point where I mean, you're kinda stabilized at that point. I'm probably more stuff behind that, but
Yeah. I'm just absolutely amazed at the amount that he's doing, and he's self managing now, right? And that was kind of our thing today. Is like we were talking about, you lose in the aggregation. Like if you have one property, is it good or bad, right? Because it's just the one.
Mhm.
When you start getting over 100 and it's accumulated into one report, you can lose some are really good, some are tanking, and some are just
Yeah.
set and forget it, right? And that's kind of what we were talking about is like when you have a lot of these properties and you have somebody else managing them for them and you're not focused on it, the money can go out very fast. And we just did the example because Cody, let's say he has 150 properties. Let's just say it's only like $100, right? 150 times $100 a month, $15,000, right? So just imagine they're like, oh well, we're gonna, usually in the winter they're like, hey, we're gonna do these maintenance items for the furnace. We're gonna send people out. Let's just say that vendor should be $100, but the property managers gets the $200 vendor because they get a $20 kickback. I'm hypothetical, but I know that this probably happens. That'd be a $15,000 hit if you had 150 properties. That extra $100, 15,000
That's
is
insane.
like
For such a seemingly small thing.
that's legit the profit, right? So it only takes these small things, and that's why I ultimately was bringing stuff in house. And I brought up the example of pest control in Eastern Washington. I was like, dude, this makes no sense. The quote that you're sending me, and just when we hopped on the call, I was so pissed about it. I called multiple companies last night, so I just got a call back from one of the pest control because I'm like, there is no way that they're charging $235 to come out and service one unit. The one unit's not even 500 square feet. They're like one bedrooms and studio, right? I'm like, the pest control and traps max $20,
Yeah.
right? So you're telling me it's $200 for a guy to come out and spend like max, absolute max would be 30 minutes, right? If you have
Yeah.
500 square feet, you're spraying literally. I don't even think you could even take 5 minutes. Okay, then
No,
you
it's
put some traps
yeah.
out, right? So that means for half an hour you're getting paid $200. I'm like,
So what do
that's
the other quotes come back at?
well, that was what I got quoted from the property manager. So now I called multiple companies and I asked them to get more quotes as well because I want to see what they get. My thing is, and I think because I'm the same way. How can I get a kickback? Kickback's a bad thing. How can I get rewarded for giving people business?
A
Right?
commission or yeah, a referral fee.
Referral fee, right? That's the biggest. Like, I would love to pay referral fee for everybody. You send me a client and you're you have your real estate license, I happily will give you 25% of the commission. I want to pay you, right? So I'm always like, well, that's amazing. How can I do that for other stuff, right? There's lenders, there's roofer, you name the trade. If
Yeah,
you talk to the right company, that they get, instead of me paying hundreds of dollars for referral, or for online advertising, why don't I pay like somebody who's actually giving me the business, right? So
exactly.
I that's what I think's happening is there's doing it like that, and then there's the people who, well, I'll just raise my price and then give you a referral. That's not what I want to do. Like, it should come out of the margin versus increasing the cost. I think what happens is on these property management companies is that's what's going on.
You think they have so many properties that they can refer business to these small businesses and get a little premium or a discount or something, so they're incentivized. And then they
Yeah.
think, "Oh, this guy has so many properties, he doesn't care. It's just, another maintenance item. We're managing it for him. He trusts us." And then but then you dig deeper and you're like, "Oh, there's 770 grand a year." Whatever. 100.
Yeah.
Jeez.
100%. And it's just it's on the fringe, but it adds up. When you have, like, Cody has, I think, 150. I have 80 units, right? These are thousands of dollars a month, right? So
Yeah.
that's the thing that you guys, yeah, no one's gonna watch your bottom line like you, right?
Right.
So
It's like
now,
it's and it applies to everything. You can take those principles to your own life with your subscriptions that you're paying for and all these little expenses that add up and eat away your entire budget. When I had Cody on the podcast for my podcast, he told me he lives on like $4,000 a month right now,
mhm. Oh,
which
yeah.
if you're doing that, man, like, why would you think he's gonna do anything different with his other businesses? He's dialed in. He's as lean as he could be, probably trying to make things as profitable as you can. So yeah, $15,000 all of a sudden starts looking like a really big number.
Oh, 100%. And I'm the same way, like, the one of my, whether you call it a superpower or things that afford me to do all the travel is, like, I live in a rental, 2-bedroom that I am paying 1,400 a month, and I rented my old, and I still own this place. I rented my old 1-bedroom for 1,750. By having effectively no rent, I've lowered my cost structure, right? That is how I'm able to do the extra travel and stuff. Now, when I take back the management, I'm guaranteed to save. I'd be shocked if I didn't save $1,000 a month just by self-managing. Obviously, the I'm trading time for lower cost, right? So obviously, the property management, that's, I don't even know what the number is, 600-700 bucks a month at least. But I know that I can save money on finding a lower cost provider or not even doing the thing. Because there's stuff where it's like, hey, this, yes, that's a nice to have, but you should be able to do it, right? So I always
Now,
use the
the benefit of the management company is quality of life in a lot of aspects, right? Isn't that going to be a lot more work for you now, though?
yes. But in today's world, there's systems and people that you can use, right? So, like, now I am going to obviously know property management. Now, I have a property management software that is a free version. It's okay. It's not great at scale. Now, my end game, we talked about this a couple episodes ago, is I refer out property management every month. I'm getting my house in order, getting all my property management. I'll get all the vendors, get everything set up. Then I'll ultimately have my own, call it Cambra property management, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a software that would scale. I can start with it today, but scales to where it's me and then a property management company for existing clients.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my end game. And so I'm looking at switching to this company, which I interviewed him. Um, Actually, Cody uses them. Another Dion is a friend of mine that's an investor. He uses them. So I'll probably end up switching to them, and then that way I can better manage the properties. So there's more flexibility. They have vendor management, tenant communications. they have a standard lease, but you can adjust the standard. The free version, they're always trying to get you to upgrade, right? So
Yeah.
for me to use the standard lease is free. But then if I say, hey, you can't sublease, or I have any like specific thing I want to add in, it's like $99 a month, which is like I don't want to pay, obviously. So but I'm switching this other one. It's like a volume. It's like 50, I think it was 58 for the first one, and then like $2.50 per incremental unit. So the first unit seems high, but then once you grow your portfolio, in theory, it's 250 a month,
Right.
$2.50 a month, which is like nothing
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you look at it.
When you compare it to the alternative of losing all this money in other places, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I was just had a thought about what you were talking about there. Um, just lost it. Anyways, yeah, okay. Well, a couple things I wanted to go over actually. So, I picked some stories off of Reddit for you to
Love it.
react to. Unless you had any more thoughts on the property management thing. I had a thought I was just about to ask you about it, and it just slipped my mind. So now I'm kind of going to the next thing. But if you had anything else to add on that.
The only thing I would ask is that for the members that are watching this,
Oh
to
yeah,
get the real world of what it's like, right? Because the reason why most people don't do it, and me, is like, I'm gonna get the late calls at night and I don't want to deal with it, or I'll be on vacation, there's gonna be a problem. Is it gonna happen? Yeah. Does it happen every day? No. But I wanna like show the real world. And in a perfect world, I could say, hey, here's what the properties did in 2025. Obviously, 2026, it'll be a partial year, but I could show like profitability before and then after. And then
exactly.
that would be like, oh man, this is like way better for profitability.
I just remember what I was going to say about property management. Do you
Yeah.
think, because you're hearing about these startups that are like one man businesses worth $1 billion, do you
Yeah.
think you're going to be able to utilize that with AI as far as your systems and property management? I'm having a hard time thinking of what that would do, but like some sort of like a intelligent agent that can maybe place bug inspection, or like it'll analyze all the different options for a cost of what the specific maintenance fix is and then refer you that immediately and communicate with the tenants. Like, do you see that in the near future for you in property management and maybe kind of simplifying things, or is that too far out?
I mean, you can do it literally today. If you create
Really?
what Oh yeah, if you create the agent. So like a good one would be I'm on this pest control thing right now. But like
Yeah.
literally like if you create this agent that's basically, imagine having the most knowledgeable maintenance person that knows A to Z everything about property management, housing, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then you can say, hey, you could have the agent read the text coming in from the the tenant, right? Says,
Mm,
"Hey, we see a spider," and then goes, "Hey, thanks for providing that." The agent could respond to this tenant, gathers, ask all the questions, gets to the pictures, and then can then say, "Is it a larger issue? Is it a non-issue? If it is an issue, who are the people that should do it, and then what would be the cost?" Right? So that would save a lot of time, right? Because in theory, it could go to the AI and then search who are the top people, figure out based on reviews and projected costs on their website, who would be the lowest cost provider, and give me one, two, and three.
yeah.
If I just literally, um, they already talked to the tenant, described the problem, has a picture, here's three people to call. Then I just have to call the three people and then coordinate it with the tenant. And probably they could do the coordination with the tenant and the service provider, right? Because then you're just doing the most highest value added thing, which is selecting the quality and low cost, ideally, vendor, right? Because where I'm getting the leaking the most money is, should it actually be done? And then if it should be done, who's the right vendor at the best cost, right? So that's really where the true savings come in.
Yeah, because there's a 10% normally is the average property management take, right? Is that your experience?
In the Midwest, typically it's been 10%. It's kind of been coming down from that. I'd say 8 to 10 in the Midwest. Now, the one that I'm taking the property management over from, it's actually the cheapest I have. I want to say it's 5%, maybe even four. And but still, it's like for this other one came up. It was a unit term.
Yeah.
The place is only a couple years. It's I fixed everything up in the entire building a couple years ago. And so they do the literally 377 pictures on the move out inspection, and that's
Mhm.
on like 500 square feet. So
Yeah.
literally pictures of everything in the entire spot. And then it says, because there's just a bucket for stuff, right? So it's like living room, and then in that it'll be like paint. It'll be like um, dust and hair in the jam or something like that, right? And then I get the turn quote from the property manager, and it says painting's going to be like $400. I'm like, did you look at the pictures? It's like wipe it. The cleaner is already like 600 bucks. Cleaners is like crazy high nowadays, which I'll try to find somebody cheaper. Literally, the cleaner just needs to go over there and wipe the trim. That's literally all it is. Like, don't paint, right? So like that saved me $400, right?
Jeez, man, that's crazy. They just think you don't even know or look at all.
Right. Now this is where it comes down to profitability. That one unit rents for 650, right? The unit turn was quoted at like 1600. So like when you have a lot of units, it's like, that's fairly small. But then I double click into it. I'm like, well, okay, what is the 1600? And then I'm like, I go through all the 377 pictures, which I just click, you can tell real quick on these. So then I'm like, why are we painting this? And then I figure out the paint section was like 400 bucks. I'm like, what in the freak, right? So 400 bucks, depends on who you are. It doesn't, it seems fairly low, but I'm like, $400 is like almost, it's like 3 weeks of rent if you have 650 rent, right? And that can be the difference of making enough money to pay the mortgage, depending on the month, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you have to like battle all these things every day. 'Cause literally all everybody in the entire world is trying to do is take a dollar from you and to them. All I'm trying to do is get the dollar and not give it away,
And
right?
then get the dollar from somebody else.
Exactly. Or yeah, I like to say, like, all I do with my dollars, they're like little soldiers. I send them into the world and they go capture dollars, and then they bring them back. That's literally all we do all day.
Little abductors. Your
Exactly.
dollars are little kidnappers that go kidnap more dollars.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. If and that's the back to your billion-dollar business, being a solo person,
Yeah.
is you're effectively trying to train AI to coordinate your dollars to go out and get another dollar back, right? So it's like you go, hey dollar, go get one of your friends and then bring them back, and then just do that over and over and over again. And then when you bring that dollar back, that dollar then goes you basically brainwash that dollar to then go get you another friend that's a dollar and bring it back, right? That's literally all it is at the very simplistic level.
It's kind of the fundamentals of capitalism in a way. It's like, can you create something that is enough value that it can be sold for an amount to somebody else? I mean, if you
Yeah.
can create something that's worth a certain amount of money,
Hmm.
where you can either provide a value, like if these AI softwares, they're valuable enough that the amount you pay for them is less than the amount that you're going to get by using them. So then the
Hmm.
value proposition's there. And then they made the thing, so they're profiting because they spent less than they needed to make profit on their thing. And it kind of feeds
Yep.
itself. But you have to provide value. Otherwise, people don't just give you their money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you got credit. People have credit cards, they don't even have the money, and they still spend the money.
Yeah. Totally.
Which is how I think that's how you get stuck in the matrix or the system, if you
Hmm.
will, rather than the people like you that are only spending the money that they have to go make more money. There's the other side of the coin is people are spending money that they don't have to not make any money.
Yeah. Totally.
kind of a scary thought. But yeah, man, I think that's gonna be. I mean, anytime you can trim the fat off anything, make it leaner. But if you don't do that, like it's kind of hard to stay in business, right? Like the alternative would just be losing all your profit at a certain point because it'll just be this bloated thing that doesn't have any, you know,
Mhm.
any actual margin. That's the word.
Exactly.
Jeez. Kind of on that note, so I pulled a bunch of questions from Reddit, people
Mhm.
asking real estate questions. I thought it would be good to get your take on some of these.
Yeah.
So there's a few of them here. So here's the first one. After how many years of owning your rental property did you start feeling this was worth it? And the caption is real estate investing is a long game and nobody feels immediately rich after acquisition, but within years a rental increases appreciation, the tenant paying down the principal, it starts feeling worth it. So for you, how many years of holding did you really start to feel glad you held on to it?
I mean, the very first one that I got, I felt glad about it, right? Because like that was the proof of concept, right? So it's like at the time, I think I was paying 2,000 in rent a month. Then I went and did a house hack, and then my net rent was 700. So that was like instantaneous. Was it 1,300 bucks lower?
Yeah.
That's wow, right? Now, do I ever feel rich? No. Now, why is that?
Hmm.
Every time, yes, you're right. All the debt was being paid down, which then generates a gap or equity, right? And then what do I do when you have a lot of equity? You go harvest it. So then I would do a loan and then I go buy more of them. So
Hmm.
this is the whole thing of what do you call it? House rich, cash poor, right? That's exactly literally I live that way at all times.
Delayed
It's
gratification in a way too.
100, yeah. I'm literally trading today's gratification for tomorrow's gratification,
Yeah.
right? So instead of me, like, could I go buy a house and have a $5,000 mortgage? Yeah, but the trade off of that is so massive, right? Because I'd rather have a couple rental properties and live in a rental. Now, last night it was super hot. I couldn't sleep. We haven't hooked up our AC unit in the apartment yet, right? So
You're
are
like,
there
I'm a
times when
millionaire and I'm just
I'm
sitting
upset?
here suffering. Why do I do this to myself?
Yeah. I know, I went to bed at, like, 3:30 or something like that, so, like, I almost slept in past the 8 o'clock Cody,
Dang.
YouTube Live. Are there issues like that? Yeah, but that's a short-term thing, it's all about the long game because the, where it's at now, I mean and this I was doing a podcast interview with somebody else, and, let's see, I was gonna pull up here because I had my portfolio up, and let's see. I call it the stealth wealth. It's basically where you're paying down the every month. The stealth wealth is the debt pay down, right?
Mhm.
And every month I'm paying that down. So if the total portfolio value, I'm just looking, it's around $11 million, right? If I do nothing and literally just keep the properties for 30 years, obviously that $11 million or the debt on that 11 million is seven. So that would pay the $7 million off, and then it'd be 11 million in net worth right now. The 11 million or the 7 million is paid off and call it if they're all 30-year fixed. Today's value, say it's 11 million, that doubles probably every 10 years, right? So if you just extrapolate that, 11 goes to 22, 22 goes to 44, 44
Damn.
goes to 88. In theory, like, if I didn't this is me doing nothing, and I just went 30 years, bought nothing. In theory, it'd be worth, projected 88 million, and I'd have 0 debt. Like,
Not a bad deal right there.
no-brainer, right? Now, let's see. Yeah, that would be 3 doubles, right?
Yeah.
11 to 22, 22 to 44, 44 to 88. Just, thinking about the power of that, and that's if I do nothing. Just the odds of me doing nothing are, like, not
Basically 0.
possible. Yeah. The longest I've gone is, like, 12 months without buying, and since 2016, and it was last year, actually. I literally went 12 months. I went December 24, then I bought January of 26, like 12 and a half months. That's the longest I've ever gone. Well, since when I really was an investor,
Right,
2016.
when you started.
So
That
I'm going to buy at least one property a year. Now, sometimes I do sell because 24 and 25, I net sold 15, right? If
hmm,
I would have kept all that, it would actually be a larger number. Now, I would had split some of that with partners. So I've sold the partnerships one. I still have one left, but it's four of the what 29 properties I think it is. So,
mhm,
but I'd rather have 100% of my own versus percentages of partnerships.
yeah. So, in a roundabout way, are you saying it felt worth it immediately, but in a way it hasn't quite yet felt all the way worth it because you're still kicking that can down the road of getting the gratification?
Yeah, and the reason is like I'm not living lavishly, right? So like I'm still in hustle mode, trying to grow the portfolio, grow the agent business. I mean, my what I'm trying to do in this year is my fiance is still working. I want to make work optional. So
Yeah,
that only comes from the passive real estate and the active agent team business. So I have to increase that. And the reason for the agent team business, as I grow that, that's I can become the lead funnel, and then the day to day stuff can still be the team, right? So it's
yeah,
something that I can do at scale anywhere in the world. So I'm always going to be hustling. Now, at some point in the future, who knows when that is? Could be 5 years, could be 10 years. Who knows? Could be next year, right? If if we literally take the foot off the gas and just coast, then we could start enjoying the fruits. I could totally do that. I don't foresee myself doing it, but that's when I would say, okay, now I actually feel it, right? But I
like
have
seeing you
not
driving around the
felt that.
Lambo.
Yeah. The thing is about the Lando, like, it's like a boat. I would love a boat, but I'd rather pay $1,000 a day,
Yeah,
and then when I'm done with the boat, I'm done paying for the boat.
yeah. Okay, another question.
Mhm.
How do you guys handle lowball offers? I'm looking to buy a house in Houston, Texas to live in. I want something cheap and then I can rehab it myself. How do you make a lowball offer, almost insulting offer? Do I have an agent write the offer for me? I hate to do that because it's going to be about 10 houses. I don't know what that means. I've emailed listing agents directly, but they don't reply. Do I call them? I have the cash and I'd waive inspection, but I want to offer considerably less than asking. Just curious about how to do it. Thanks.
Yeah, that one's a straightforward answer. It is, he has it sounds like this person already has a goal of what he wants to do. He has to share that goal with a real estate agent that is aligned with that person. Now, for me, I know that that's gonna be a high touch, high intense client. And probably Houston is not very high. Let's just assume it's 200,000, right? So if it's 200,000, let's say it's a 3% commission. So that's $6,000. And he said it could take 10. Yeah, it could even be more, right? So I did this same thing back in 2018, I think. I was like, I'm going to get a seller finance property uh, on the market. It took 43 offers between 2 different agents.
That
So,
even
can't
sounds low to me, that number, 43. When I was wholesaling and doing creative deals, it would take me 100.
right. So, now we had an agreement. Obviously, I already bought with these agents, so they know I'm actually gonna buy, right? So, like,
Yeah, so that's
that's the
increasing your conversion.
yeah, that's the hard part is, like, if you're a new person, you've got to talk to somebody who has faith in you, and you've gotta back it up. Be like, "If we do bring you that deal and you don't execute on it, you're not worth the time," right? So with me, I'd already bought multiple properties with both people, and what we ended up doing, we had a simple process. Like I'd be like, "This is the property. Here's the sales term." He would copy paste it in a text. Was it official offer? Technically, no. It wasn't on a contract. But all we were trying to do is put it in front of the seller agent to see if they'll bite, right? And ultimately, we ended up getting, I think it was the 43rd offer, right? So it can be done. You have to find the right person that has faith in you. You need to execute on it once that deal comes through. Once that happens, like you can rinse repeat that because there's one agent that was in the Midwest. I did over 20 properties with. I don't do business with them today,
Mhm.
but at one time we were doing a ton of business. So it can be done.
That's cool. Okay. This is kind of a, I don't know, not a real applicable one, but kind of an interesting scenario here. Do you tell your friends when they're buying a terrible deal? Caption is, I know I can't tell the future and I'm not a particularly seasoned investor, but I can do math for context. I own 7 rentals in my market. My wife has a friend who got money from a divorce a few years ago. Her ex-husband had a rental that he owned prior to the relationship, and it's done terrific. She has never owned anything herself and wanted to pull the trigger on a property a few days ago, making the decision. Um, a few days after she found the property. It's a 1-1 condo for 200K plus. She's putting 10K down, the HOA of 325, taxes of $100, insurance $50, and she's planning on using private money. They are under contract. She reached out to us for a referral for an inspector, which I gave her. I knew right away it was going to be a terrible deal, but I'm also happy for her wanting to do this. I looked up the rental comp. She'll be lucky to get 1450. It's a really nice area though. She asked my wife asked if she wanted me to go over the numbers with her, and she declined. At which point, I feel like we did our part. I don't want to kill her hope or anything, but I think people learn more from going through things. That being said, I showed my wife is likely going to lose about $600 a month for having to fix anything or replace a tenant or pay months rent to the private money lender. She's a teacher, so my wife feels terrible and wants to talk her out of it. But I told her just to offer support and maybe compliment her and ask what she calculated the rent. What would you do?
That's one where now I get this a lot because obviously I'm an agent. I'm helping to do the deal, and I
Okay.
actually, uh, and this is the beauty of you work with somebody who already owns real estate and they have money already, meaning they don't need to force you into a deal because there's a lot of
Yeah.
agents that don't. They literally can't pay the rent if they don't do the deal. So their answer is always what makes them money.
Yeah.
So for me, like I just did this actually this weekend. This deal came up, or this property, not a deal. This property came up. It was a flip for not a long term hold. So what I try to do is ask like, hey, is this a good deal? So first they have to be open to it. They're like asking you, is this a good deal? So then I just start walking through, well, walk me through the numbers. And then at which point I'm like, okay, now once you factor in your holding cost, and then I like, what are your holding costs? And we calculate that. And then what do we think the after repair value is? Okay, all right, okay. And then the closing costs, what are those going to be? And then we can kind of triangulate around without telling her it's a bad deal. It's like, oh, potentially you could make $20,000. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what if the market goes down 20K? He's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. There's not that much spread in there, right? What if you get stalled another month? Oh, if you're paying 5,000 a month in holding costs, you go a couple months, there's your profit right there." So now this one is a long-term hold. If she's open to it, asking the questions, I like to have them ask the questions and then I'm asking them questions back, which forces them to kind of walk through the math.
And then
That
they
to me.
feel like they get to it on their own.
Yeah, because like, I know when somebody's critiquing me, I am immediately defensive, which means I'm not listening, right? So, I'm like, "Oh, interesting. Oh, it has a HOA, $320 for the," I think is what, wow, that's gonna be hard to profit because, like, that's more than what typically the margin is. Okay, so tell me more. I just planted a seed,
Yeah.
right? But I didn't say that not don't do the deal.
Yeah.
So asking the questions and trying to kind of walk them through to see what they're going to see. Now, they
Mhm.
could still justify whatever they want, right? But I'm typically trying to ask them questions to get to what I think is the right answer if they're open to it.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, last little story here. Have you heard of this one? It's this is from the justicedepartment.gov. self-proclaimed short sale queen and associates indicted in federal mortgage fraud scheme. Did you hear about this? It was in 2024, I think. It was a big deal at the time, maybe because I was in the DFW area. But tell me
Mhm.
what you think of this, and maybe break it down a little bit more listener friendly here. Okay, Nicole Espinosa, known as the short sale queen, 35 of Plano, Texas. Stephanie Smith, also known as Stephanie Parks, 44 of Midlothian. Okay, I'll skip down here. The two count indictment charged them with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and affecting financial institution and conspiracy to submit false statements to a federally insured financial institution. The defense have been arrested and are scheduled to appear in the magistrate judge and on December 4th. According to information presented in court, beginning in 2017, Espinoza, Smith, and Baltazar, along with others, alleged to have operated a mortgage fraud scheme using various companies, including Short Sale Queen LLC. The defendants researched and located properties that were in pre-foreclosure, short sale process, and approached homeowners about listing their properties for sale. After signing a listing agreement with homeowners, the defendants submitted various fraudulent documents to financial institutions and mortgage companies for the purpose of freezing or halting the foreclosure process, such as documents included falsified purchase agreements from purported buyers, as well as altered proof of funds letters showing the buyers had means to purchase the property. Based on these representations, the financial institution halted the foreclosure proceedings, waived collection fees, and unknowingly allowed the defendants time to find a real buyer, or in other instances, canceled the deal when they could not locate a legitimate buyer. All told, the defendants are alleged to have fraudulently submitted documents for at least 88 properties totaling over 8 million in sales and obtained at least 390,000 in commissions and processing fees and caused at least 2.5 million in losses to these financial institutions. If convicted, the defendants face up to 30 years in federal prison. 30 years.
How ironic. It's the same length as the mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
You got a mortgage term, for your jail time. Now, this stuff in today's world, the odds of hiding stuff are so difficult. Think about with the whole reason why you can do mobile notary or online notary digital signatures is this is
Mhm.
all like geo tracked and time tracked, right?
Yeah.
Before in the old world where everything was paper, like in you could do stuff if you wanted to, right? You could backdate stuff. It's impossible to backdate stuff if
Yeah.
you're digitally signing it, right? And you would know where you're at, right? Like if I was in like last week, I was in the Caribbean. They would know that I was in the Caribbean. If there's something that had a signature in a different state, that means that I was not the signer, right? So if you forged my signature or whatever, right? So that in today's world, that doesn't fly. Now, tip when you think about it, there was two people. The numbers were 8 million and around 400,000 for the income. Now, is that a good amount of money? Maybe for them, but like I wouldn't trade off the potential of 30 years for 400,000, right? Like,
There's no way they had an idea of what the consequences could have been.
right. Well, I mean, they had to. I'm assuming they sound like they're an agent, right? To be an agent,
Yeah.
you have to go. Literally, that's what it says. It's like the signatures, and part of getting the license is understanding the law. So they
Oh, yeah.
100% knew what they were doing in order to do that. Now, typically, like if because I used to be into that show called Greed in the early 2000s. I don't know if you've seen that, but it basically talks about pyramid schemes and like how people get greedy and then it ultimately always implodes because they get too greedy and they're over living the lifestyle, right? So
Yeah.
now the short sale queen, that's probably the dagger, right? Because she was living up to this queen persona, and she was by doing that, she was getting more of the business, and so she had to continue to propagate the lifestyle, and that's what ends up happening is, like, she had initial success doing it the right way, guaranteed, right? Then she's like, "This is my niche," and then if the niche doesn't work, she was trying to, keep it going. My assumption is how it went. So I would I mean, geez, even if you do like a little white lie, like I can't live with that. Like my fiance and I are watching this new show, and there's a group of friends, and there's like a big is hidden secret. I'm like, God, I'm not even in it. I have anxiety. Like the fact that and then if this short sale queen, knowing that she's done all these deals, and the potential for any day to be thrown in jail,
88.
I cannot believe they would risk it for that, you know, even it would have to be like $1 billion. And even then it's like I can't live with that kind of like, it gives me anxiety.
'Cause, like, in a way, what she was doing in certain instances could have maybe been legit, like, it's probably a real thing if someone's in pre-foreclosure and you show that there's a buyer's agreement here to buy it, they'll pause it. I mean, that's why they paused it, is because that happens before, but she
Right.
just went one step further and made a fake buyer. Like, that's
Right.
that's what I think could happen, or maybe even just, like, got a fake proof of funds offline or something just because she's like, "Oh, well, I could have the proof of funds anyways. What does it matter?" And she kinda probably justified it, but then bam, just like that, 30 years of your life.
Oh,
I think she has kids and stuff too, which is just so terrible.
oh man. It's not worth it. It's like, we have this saying in the agent community I'm in. Excuse me. If you live and die by the sale, you're gonna live and die by the sale. Which means like if you do everything possible to get this sale legally slash what they did illegal, you're going to that's just going to translate into your life. It's going to cause you problems. So for me, like I give my opinion what's good for them. I can live with that, right? So like I just had a client meet with me yesterday. She lives out of state. She has a duplex in state. She bought it. If she sells today, she'd have a small loss. She goes, "Would you sell this property?" I go, "Well, help me understand why we're here today." She's like, "Well, I had a tenant in there, I evicted him, and just got him. I'm literally cleaning it out. It's causing me headaches.
Mhm.
Now I have this other property in California. If I put the money there, I can lower the interest." I'm like, "Do you want to own properties in in Washington long term? If the answer is yes, keep the property. If the answer is no, you don't want to deal with these problems, sell the property." I didn't answer the question. I said, "If this is what you want, then do this. If this is what you want, do that. Whatever the thing you want is, that's what I help you with." I know this conversation is gonna help me sell your it might not be today. It could be in 10 years. But that's the difference, like, I don't do I want the money? Yeah. Do I need the money? No. So, this is where, like, I feel good giving 2 options, not making the decision, right? So it puts it back into their court. They have what do you call that? Ownership, right? And I can live, and I think that's ultimately what gets me more customers and more referrals, right? Because most people would be like, "Oh, dude, you need to sell this and take the loss," right? Like they they make good money. Like they don't need to sell this, right? Is it uncomfortable that they have to deal with this eviction, right? Yeah, but could they outlast, go the full 30 years, pay the mortgage off? 100%.
Completely.
So, but that's where like some people will say, you have to sell this right now. The market's going to crash. If you don't sell it now, you're not going to be able to get the money, right? And I walked through all the properties in a 1 mile radius that have sold and are on market. And there's buildings literally right next to her because I had another buyer looking at buying these other buildings. Truth be told, I didn't even look up the value of the property before we got on the call. She's like, "What do you think it's worth?" I'm like, "In that area," because I have clients that are always buying, right? I go, "It's probably 475 to 500." Ironically, literally, we landed on live real time 495 without even looking at it, just because you're in the market. Now, there's properties that are at, I think it was 450 and 475, 515, and then there's like 600. So I walked her through like, here's the condition and here's the rents on the 450, 475. Yours are better. You have more rents. Now here's the the rents and the condition and the size of the bigger one than the one that's really big. Like it's like 700,000, but I'm like, literally the rents are twice your rent. You're not, these are not even comparable. And they're like 10-year-old, not 50-year-old, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of this kinda goes back to the initial things we were talking about, and I guess in some other points as well. It's almost like you can live and enjoy the fruits of it as long as it's proportionally relative to how much you're earning. Like, and you're kind of taking that to the extreme where you're still living well below your means. But if you're enjoying all the things, but it's taking you all of your capacity to like pay your bills and your rent and to do your business and you're at like max all the time, that's when you're going to try to force somebody into selling, or you're going to try to make the deal happen now and try to get the payment now instead of the long-term appreciation. Whereas if you know, maybe you can afford all the nice stuff and going on trips and driving the nice car, but it's still like under 10% or whatever the percentage is of your top line, it doesn't matter. Like you're still not in the place to have to act or to go out of the greed. You know, like it's kind of like a relative. Jeff Bezos can easily spend 20 million on a wedding or whatever it was because that's 0.0001% of his income. You know what I mean? So the problem is people go a step too soon and try to be the short sale queen, or they try to, you know, live way at their means, and then it forces them into a spot where they actually have to make less money because they're
Mhm.
doing bad deals instead of building relationships and stuff like you're able to do.
Right. And I think it's it's building a foundation on a wide platform, right? Like the if you think about a pyramid, right? Like the reason why pyramid schemes work is like they're inverted, right?
Mm.
So meaning the point is down versus up. So like as I'm building out my portfolio, like I bought a lot of properties, low dollar amount, and the goal was like if I had two properties, I think about two pillars. If one of those properties goes down, timber, right? If I like for me, I was buying a bunch of these little properties. So if one property went down, I still got say I had 10. One property goes down, I still have 9. Like my foundation is still, is it worse than I was? Yeah. But can I still survive? Yes. So if you build a foundation, now that's delaying gratification, having savings, having cash flowing assets. This is what gives you the strength and power to last in the long run. The short sale queen, inverted the thing and didn't have a good foundation, and so it was literally a house of cards. House of cards is it doesn't have a foundation, so it took the whole thing down.
Yeah, it's a shame, but that's why you just got to choose the hard way. Do it now instead of later. You're gonna make it a lot worse for yourself. I bet she's gonna feel like it was a lot harder to spend 30 years in prison than it would have been to actually just do good business.
That's my I always say, that's one of my there's, like, 2 sayings that I live by. One is actually 3. All great things come from the power of the increment. That's, like, my number 1.
Whoa.
That's how I live. Then there's I used to say, "Make them tell me no." Like, "How do you know you got a good deal?" At some point, somebody's gotta, "Dude, that's too low. I'm no, I can't take it." I since changed that around because somebody else was like, "That's negative." If you say, "Give them an opportunity to say yes." I'm like, same thing. Sounds better.
Okay.
Then the other one is take the pain today versus twice as much tomorrow. She didn't take the pain. The pain would have been go get more customers, go get more buyers to buy real buyers, right? So instead of taking the pain today, she's taking like 30x because she had a 30-year term now in jail. So those are the 3 things I live by. She broke one of those 3 things, right? She wasn't doing the daily work, and she wasn't taking the pain today to be better for tomorrow.
Awesome. I think that's a good spot to end it today, man.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Yeah, man. Good talking to you. I'll talk to you next week. Sound good?
Sounds good. Thanks, Brennan.
Yeah.